this morning's Education Executive. Just the usual housekeeping rules to start with. For the purposes of the live recording, if not for anyone in the room, I'm Councillor Andrew Maguire and I'm the Chair of the Education Executive. The usual reminders that this meeting is being broadcast live and a recording will be available afterwards through the Council's website. I'm being assisted today by Dr. Elaine Cook, the Council's Deputy Chief Executive, and colleagues from Committee Services and IT. The usual reminders that attendees may be joining from any location, and everything said while your microphones are live will be recorded and broadcast. Members are asked to be polite, respectful and patient, which I know we all will be. And there's more information, including a privacy statement about the meeting on the Council's website. First of all, Val, do we have any apologies for absence?
Thank you, Chair. We have a couple this morning. We have them from Heather Hughes and Peter Doolan, who are two of our appointed representatives. And Chair, just for completeness, we have a couple of members joining us online. They are Councillor Peter Heggie and one of our appointed representatives, Lynn McEwen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good morning to those of us joining online. Item number 2, any declarations of interest? Any members have any declarations of interest? Any items of business? Councillor McMillan.
Thanks, Chair. It's a transparency statement, and that I'm employed by Kirstine Sullivan, the Member of Parliament for Bathgate and Linlithgow. Thank you.
Thanks, Anne. Are there any other declarations of interest? I don't see any requests to speak. In that case, can we confirm the draft minutes of the meeting of the Education Executive held on Tuesday the 13th of May? Fantastic, which takes us to item number 5, the first substantive item of business, which is the school session dates for 26-27. And I believe that's Hannah. Hannah, good morning.
Good morning, thank you. The purpose of this report is to update the committee on the outcome of a consultation on school term dates and to request approval for the proposed school session dates for 2026-27 and for a small amendment to the 2025-26 session dates. At the Education Executive in March 24, it was agreed that further to the usual annual consultation on proposed dates, more in-depth consultation on school session patterns should be undertaken. In October 24, a survey was issued to pupils, teaching and non-teaching school staff, parents and carers. The survey presented 3 different options for the distribution of term dates affecting the summer, October and February holidays, because these were the holidays that we tend to receive comments about each year. The table in the report shows the results, and the most popular option overall was for the current pattern, which is for 6 weeks in the summer, 1 in October and 1 in February. So that is what the proposed term dates for 26-27 are based on. Appendix 1 shows the proposed session dates for 2026-27. Appendix 2 shows the dates in calendar formats. And Appendix 3 shows the proposed session dates in neighbouring authorities where known at this time, although these could change. As usual, these dates differ from one another, so it's not possible for us to set holidays which would coincide with all neighbouring authorities. The reason that the in-service date in May 2027 is on a Thursday is that the Scottish Government elections are scheduled to take place and some schools are used as polling stations. Finally, the report also sets out a proposal that the in-service date in May 2026 is changed from the Tuesday to the Thursday to coincide with the proposed Scottish parliamentary elections, as this was overlooked in the formation of these session dates. We would therefore recommend that the committee approves the proposed session dates for 2026-27 and the change to the in-service day in May 2026. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Are there any questions to Hannah? I don't see any requests to speak. Are there any comments? Don't see any requests to speak. Are we happy to approve the recommendations in the paper? And then apologies, colleagues, I should have realised that I'd missed out item number 3, the order of business. For Val's benefit, if nobody else's, there's a paper for information only, item number 11, tackling racial inequality in schools. I think given the prominence this has had in the press recently, I'll promote this to a paper that will be presented, so just to make sure that's okay. Yeah, perfect. That then takes us to item number 6, which is the outcome of consultation on denominational secondary school catchments in the north of West Lothian. And that's Andy Cotton. Andy, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to present the outcome of consultation on the proposal to review the denominational secondary school catchments at St Margaret's Academy, St Kentigern's Academy and Sinclair Academy. It is recommended that Education Executive approve the proposal to alter the denominational secondary school catchment areas and note the outcome of the formal consultation and the comments of Education Scotland on the consultation. The proposed changes to denominational secondary catchments are to ensure that the catchment boundaries fit better with local community ties and ensure better alignment with community council and natural geographic boundaries. The proposed area of change at Pumpston contains 800 residential properties. It is currently located in the St Margaret's Academy catchment, and the proposal is to change to the Sinclair Academy catchment. The proposal aligns all of the Pumpston and Upwall Station Community Council areas with the Sinclair Academy catchment and maintains the alignment with primary school catchments. The two other proposals vary between 6 and 7 residential properties, and 8 final proposals do not include any residential properties. Although those changes are minor in scale, they're important in improving current and future community alignment with secondary school catchments. The consultation period took place in February and March 2025, with a public meeting on the 3rd of March 2025 at St Margaret's Academy. No written responses were received, and no members of the public attended the public meeting, therefore no objections to the proposal were raised. The report by Education Scotland attached agrees that there are educational benefits from this proposal and that the proposed changes were supported by pupils, staff and parents. It's therefore recommended that Executive approve the revised catchment areas. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions to Andy? I don't see any requests to speak. Are there any comments? Are we happy to approve the recommendations in the paper? That's fantastic. That takes us to item number 7, which is the outcome of consultation on denominational primary school catchments in the north of West Lothian, and that's Andy again.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to present the outcome of a consultation on the proposal to review the denominational primary school catchments at St Paul's, St Nicholas's, Holy Family, St Joseph's Linlithgow, Howden St Andrews, St John Ogilvie, St Columba's, St Mary's Bathgate and Our Lady of Lourdes primary schools. It's recommended that Education Executive approve the proposal to alter the denominational primary school catchment areas and note the outcome of a formal consultation, including the comments of Education Scotland on the consultation. The proposed changes to ensure that catchment boundaries fit better with local community ties and ensure better alignment with community council and natural geographic boundaries. Again, the proposed area of change at Pumpston contains 800 residential properties. This is currently located in the St Paul's primary school catchment, and the proposal is to change to the St Nicholas's primary school catchment. The proposal aligns the entirety of the Pumpston and Upwall Station Community Council areas with the St Nicholas's primary school catchment. 4 other proposals vary between 1 and 7 residential properties, and the remaining 15 proposals do not include any residential properties. Although these changes are minor in scale, they're important in improving current and future community alignment with the primary school catchments. The formal consultation period took place in February and March 2025, with a public meeting at St Margaret's Academy on the 3rd of March 2025. 2 responses were received, no objections were raised. 1 member of the public inquired as to whether the eligibility of non-baptised Roman Catholic children would be changed in attending St Nicholas's, and a response was sent explaining that admission arrangements for non-baptised children would not be changed by the proposal. The second response came from St Nicholas's Primary School Pupil Council. Overall, the children there were positive about the proposal of children residing in Pumpston attending St Nicholas's. The report by Education Scotland agreed there were educational benefits in the proposal and that the changes were supported by pupils, staff and parents. It's therefore recommended that Executive approve the revised denominational primary school catchment areas. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Any comments? Councillor Mannion.
Thank you, Chair. I think just to commend Andrew and colleagues in the Education Service for this significant piece of work. It does not impact at this moment on very many children or families, but it may well do ultimately, and regardless of the numbers, it's still important that we go through all of the processes and all of the systems, so in terms of consultation, etc. So a huge thanks for this piece of work, and it will be of benefit going forward, no doubt. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Susan. Are there any other comments? Are we happy to approve the recommendations in the paper? Which takes us to item number 8, which is the school roll forecast, and that's Andrew again.
Thank you, Chair. This report recommends that Executive notes that the forecasts have been updated and now incorporate the 2024 CMIS school census data as the base. Notes that the forecasts include scenarios based on projected housing completions from the Housing Land Audit 2024. Notes the updated forecasts of pupil roles, including the assumptions and methodology implied in producing the data, and notes that further investment in the school estate will be necessary in future, but the timing of that investment will be influenced by house building rates and the commitment of developers to fund that additional school capacity. School role forecasts are an essential part of planning the future revenue and capital requirements of the council. They're also an important element in the council's consideration of planning applications for residential development. These forecasts give an early warning of those schools which are likely to go over capacity in future. Where overcapacity arises as a result of new housing development, supplementary guidance was approved in 2021, which identifies and costs the education solutions required to accommodate those additional children. Developers of sites within the school catchments are then required to meet the full cost of delivering those education solutions. These forecasts cover a time range from school session 2024-25 through to 2034-35. The housing component of the forecast is based on the Housing Land Audit 2024, with adjustments to fit two scenarios, one with 900 houses per year and one with all allocated houses within the local development plan being constructed. The forecast based around the 900 houses completions is included as the scenario which council officers believe most closely resembles average annual house building rates. This level corresponds well to the minimum all tenure housing land requirement, or MAFLA, which is set out in National Planning Framework 4 for West Lothian of 9,850 new houses over the 10-year period of Local Development Plan 2. The forecast methodology is provided by Edge Analytics, an external consultancy company who have expertise in geographic modelling and research with a specialism in population scenario forecasting. The exact methodology is set out in an appendix attached to the paper in Appendix 2. But broadly speaking, the forecasts incorporate 0 to 5 preschool population data, which we source from NHS Scotland, school census data, which comes from within West Lothian Council, birth estimates based on the historic trends, housing growth drawn from the Local Development Plan and the Housing Land Audit 2024, and child house ratios, which are based on historic evidence in West Lothian of the number of children generated by each new house completion and averaged over time. It's important to note that as well as the overall school roles, capacity pressures can also be found in individual school year groups, especially at P1 and S1. Schools may be unable to accept new pupils, even when the overall school roll is below capacity. This is because it's very unusual for pupils to be exactly distributed across year groups in a particular catchment. Additional capacity can therefore be required well in advance of schools breaching their overall school roll. Plans do exist to ensure that capacity is in place for all potential future children shown in the forecasts. Where any schools are shown in red in the forecast, this means that if current demand and placing trends were to continue without any intervention, the school would go over capacity. However, the council plans a number of different interventions which are shown in the report and the appendices. These can include new schools, extensions to existing schools, catchment reviews, and management of the existing capacity through the use of placing request legislation. School roll forecasting inevitably involves a degree of uncertainty. We mitigate these risks as much as possible by using a third-party demographic expert working alongside our local expertise. The forecasts reflect current and historic demographic trends, but they also change over time, as the effect of events including the credit crunch, Brexit and COVID-19 have been reflected in changes to both housing development trends and choices by local parents and children. Members may be aware that in other Scottish Council areas there have been significant issues with ensuring that sufficient school capacity is available to meet new housing development demand, partly due to inaccurate calculations. These forecasts have been thoroughly reviewed to ensure that they accurately reflect the current situation in West Lothian and will continue to be updated annually to ensure that future demographic trends are reflected accurately in the forecasts. We therefore do not believe that those risks that have been seen in other council areas are present within West Lothian. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions to Andy? Councillor Smith.
It was just regarding East Calder. There had been an expectation that there would be a secondary school there at some stage. So I was just wondering if you could explain the Calderwood Core Development Area Secondary Capacity Solution and what that will entail?
So at the moment, that intervention is under development, so we don't have any information as to exactly what that will consist of at this time, but we are continuing to collect contributions. Obviously, the initial phase of capacity there is the extension at West Calder High School, which is currently very nearly complete and will be opening in August 2025. And then we're looking at what the next phase of that capacity development will be, and that will, before any of that is made public, it will come to Education Executive and Council Executive for approval.
Okay, so you're working on the next phase, but you can't tell us what that is yet until the executive meeting.
Yes, that's the situation. It's not yet fully developed and available.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Veronica. Councillor Logue. Danny, good morning.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I was just going to ask about the Calderwood area in East Calder, with the development in the Uphill Station, Pomfret and Livingston South, which will put increased capacity on West Calder High, and also if there's any further developments in the north of the town, which is taking place currently, Livingston North. The issues were going to be that it gets to a point where you can't extend the school anymore. So what happens then with the development of East Calder? Seems to be there's more developments appear that weren't actually planned. I would just say, so it's like, has this always factored into your plans, and will you be able to just can't see the school in West Calder taking that capacity and that numbers in the near future?
I think we're all agreed that the current extension at West Calder is the final extension that can be undertaken at West Calder High School at the moment, both with the financial structure of the way the school was delivered, and with the kind of physical constraints on the site. Just to reassure you that the houses underway in Pomfret and Uphill Station, they're within the Broxburn Academy catchment, so they don't contribute to West Calder High School. And the houses within the Livingston South area, they're within the James Young High School catchment, so they don't contribute to pressures at West Calder High School. There are a number of other live applications within the West Calder High School site, including the Rennieland one at Calderwood, Robertson and Springfield that I'm aware of in East Calder. So those are live applications. Those will be expected to contribute, and we will be developing an additional secondary capacity solution. I think it is worth noting when you look at the capacity figures that there is spare capacity within the secondary sector in West Lothian, so it's about a combination of achieving a balance by matching the children across the capacity that exists and delivering additional capacity. So it's likely that the solution will be a combination of utilising the spare capacity that exists in other schools and delivering additional capacity. But as I say, at the moment, that's still to be developed and fully delivered. We'll bring that back to executive once we have that solution fully developed. But be reassured that we do have plans in place, and we continue to take contributions in the meantime, so that any developments that do come forward will contribute to that solution, even though it's not fully developed what the solution is yet.
Thanks, Andy. Danny, did you have a supplementary question?
Supplementary, thanks. It was just that when you look at the Gavy side or Livingston North, Livingston South plans for the new development at that site, DDA site there, it just seems that the building works will take place further west of West Calder High School. So that means that they would actually pass the school if they were going to school. So if they were going to go to school in James Young High School.
Andy?
The Gavyside site, as you identify, is located at the moment within the Meldrum Primary School catchment and the Deans Community High School catchment. Deans Community High School, as shown in the forecast, has a significant amount of capacity available, so we anticipate that certainly the initial phases of the Gavyside development would be accommodated within Deans. In the long term, that would need to be exactly reviewed how that all matches up, but certainly the initial phases of the Gavyside development would be within Deans. The initial phases for primary would be accommodated within Meldrum, and then the plan for that site is for there to be a primary school delivered on site for the primary school solution there. So I'm confident that the Gavyside site doesn't contribute to any issues at West Calder High School in the short to medium term. The developer there will also be making a contribution towards transport costs. So for that initial phase where the children are being transported to Meldrum before the primary school opens on site, the developer will be paying for those transport costs, and the same for the transport costs to Dean's Community High School in the initial phase. So that's certainly the plan, is that the developer will contribute to a new primary school, will contribute to the long-term secondary school solution, and will contribute to the short-term transport costs for that. I'm confident that the Garryside development won't worsen any existing issues within West Lothian, and will be bringing forward monies that can contribute to the long-term education solutions.
Danny, did you have another question?
No, Chair, just thought it was very environmentally friendly answer. Thank you.
Thanks. Does anyone else have any further questions? Anyone wish to make a comment? Councillor Pattle?
Yeah, thanks very much. I just wanted to say thanks for including this report, because I don't think that all local authorities get the opportunity to have a look at this. And I just think that holistically it really helps us to inform decisions, particularly as we go through something as large as the LDP2 I'm going to say project that we're currently enjoying as we move through the process. So it was really just to say that I found it very informative, and it does give us a better overview on where we're heading in terms of a region and in terms of development. So thank you, Andrew.
Thanks, Hallie. Are there any further comments? I would just like to put on record my thanks as well. This is a mammoth task that you do every year, and as you've highlighted, other local authorities haven't always necessarily got it right, which I think bears some pressure upon your shoulders sometimes, Andrew, but you always do it fantastically well, and as you highlighted, there's lots of safeguards in place, plus the fact that it's reviewed annually to make sure that we get everything right. So thanks from all of us, and well done on this. If there's no further comments, then that will take us to item number 9, which is a review of the non-denominational primary school catchments. Sorry. Are we happy to approve the school roll forecast?
Yes.
That takes us to item number 9, which is a review of non-denominational primary school catchments in Bathgate in the north of West Lothian. And that's Andrew once again.
Thank you, Chair. This report recommends that Education Executive approve the commencement of consultation on non-denominational primary school catchments at Balbardy Primary School, Bog Hall, Simpson, Windy Now, Blackburn, Murrayfield, Seafield, Peel, Deans, Meldrum, Decmont, Uphall, Torfichan and Linlithgow primary schools. The proposed changes to non-denominational primary school catchments are to ensure that catchment boundaries fit better with local community ties and ensure better alignment with community and natural geographic boundaries. The 4 larger areas of change in Bathgate respond to community concerns over safe routes to schools and community cohesion. The proposal at Wester Inch West aligns all of the Wester Inch area with Simpson Primary School catchment for the first time. There has been a long-standing community desire to include the entire Wester Inch area within the Simpson Primary School catchment. Until now, this has not been possible because of a strong pressure on Simpson Primary School roles. 6 out of the 7 year groups at Simpson Primary School are now below capacity, and it is expected that the school can accommodate the children from the extended catchment. The proposal at Stanhill Inch Cross aligns the Stanhill Inch Cross area with Simpson Primary School catchment and reduces school walking distances. The proposals at Bathgate Town Centre and Balmere Road Eastern create shorter walking routes to Balbardy Primary School and align the entire Balmere Road area with the Balbardy Primary School catchment and respond to concerns about the lack of safe walking route along Race Road. The remaining 19 areas of change are minor alterations, with 11 that have no residential property and 8 areas with between 1 and 10 properties. Although these changes are minor in scale, they are important in improving current and future community alignment with primary school catchments. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Are there any questions? Don't see any requests to speak. Are there any comments? Don't see any requests to speak. We're happy to approve the recommendations in the paper, which then takes us to item number 10, which is a review of non-denominational secondary school catchments in Bathgate.
Thank you, Chair. This report recommends that Education Executive approve the commencement of consultation on non-denominational secondary school catchments at Bathgate Academy, Armadale Academy, Inverarmond Community High School, Deans Community High School, Boxman Academy, Winchborough Academy and Linlithgow Academy. The proposed changes to non-denominational secondary school catchments are to ensure that catchment boundaries fit better with local community ties and ensure better alignment of community and natural geographic boundaries. The 4 larger areas of change in Bathgate respond to community concerns over safe routes to schools and community cohesion. The proposal at Westerinch West aligns all of the Westerinch area with Simpson Primary School and Bathgate Academy catchments, and there's been this long-standing community desire to include the entire Westerinch area within Simpson and Bathgate Academy catchments. Until now, this has not been possible because of the pressure on Simpson Primary School roles. The proposal at Stanton Lynch Cross aligns Stanton Lynch Cross with Simpson Primary School and Bathgate Academy catchments, and the proposals at Bathgate Town Centre and Balmere Road Eastern create safe walking routes and align the areas with Bathgate Academy catchment. The remaining 15 areas of change are minor alterations, with 7 that have no residential property and 8 with between 1 and 10 properties. Although these changes are minor in scale, they're important in improving current and future community alignment with secondary school catchments. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Andy. Are there any questions to Andy? I don't see any requests to speak. Are there any comments? I don't see any requests to speak. Are we happy to approve the recommendation in the paper? Which takes us to item number 11, which is tackling racial inequality in schools, and that's Geraldine. Good morning.
Good morning and thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to provide Education Executive with an overview of Education Services' approach to tackling racial inequality in schools. In line with the Scottish Government's overarching vision for a fairer Scotland by 2030, where all people are healthier, happier and treated with respect, Education Services value our diverse communities and ensure that children and young people are provided with a curriculum and staff with a professional learning programme which promotes racial equality and tackles racism and inequality. Section D2 of the report gives an overview of the Education Scotland's Building Racial Literacy programme, which is designed to embed anti-racism as a fundamental professional value for educators. The engagement of West Lothian staff in the programme and the plans for the recently established anti-racism network. Section D3 of the report provides information on a key aspect of the emerging approach in West Lothian, with the development of an anti-racism toolkit for practitioners within ELC settings and schools. In Section D4 of the report, detail is provided into partnership working approaches and the Council's anti-bullying guidance, which provides clear advice on how to tackle racial incidents. In conclusion, the panel is asked to note that Education Services is fully committed to educating staff, families, children and young people and communities to ensure racial equality and tackle racism and inequality to ensure that everyone feels safe, included and respected. My colleagues and I would now welcome any questions anyone might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Geraldine. Are there any questions to Geraldine? Councillor McKee-Schemmel, good morning.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Thanks, Geraldine. I've got a couple of questions. Does every school have their own race equality policy, or is it a general West Lothian one?
Every school has one. It's based on the positive relationships policy. It's embedded in that, and every school will have an equality and diversity statement.
Sorry, I'm finding it really hard to hear today. There's an echo or something in my ears. So, every school does have its own policy.
They will have an equality and diversity statement, which is part of the positive relationships policy.
A statement?
Yes.
Okay. And do we know the numbers of young people who might be classified as being in a minority ethnic group?
I don't have that level of detail, but happy to provide that at a later date.
Okay. And that would be good. And do we collect data, attainment data, on young people who might be in a minority ethnic group, look through the lens of racial equality?
Yes, and we do look at that in terms of use of Power BI. We're able to do so, and also look at our curriculum through a racial equality lens as well.
I find that hard to hear, sorry.
I think, can you hear me a bit or no?
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong today. I can't hear today.
Yeah, it's a bit tinny for me as well. The answer there was yes, that the Education Department do record data, attainment data.
Okay, thanks. Could we have maybe a wee report about the numbers and the data, particularly about attainment and young people?
I'd be happy to add that to the work plan for the Education PTSP.
Thank you. That would be
I think
helpful.
that'd be more appropriate than coming here.
No, that's fine. Thank you for that.
Are there any further questions, Councillor Stafford?
Thanks, Chair, and thanks, Geraldine, for the report. It's really interesting. On page 2, about halfway down, it mentions the Council's recently established anti-racism network. I just wondered if you could give us some more information on what that anti-racism network is.
And there is the Anti-Racism Network is actually going to take forward, going into next session, the draft plan and priorities that we have, and it'll be part of the Anti-Racism in Education programme. So they're going to take the opportunity to continue to develop the curriculum approaches, so looking at the connections to our 1+2 work on developing authentic culture resources for practitioners across our schools. They're also going to look at that, continuing to identify good practice and connect in with the health and wellbeing team as well. There'll also be that opportunity in terms of our next steps as well as looking at that professional learning and leadership and diversity in the teaching profession.
Yeah, that's great. It'd be great if we could get more information as that develops. That would be great. My second question is on the reporting of any racist incidents in schools and how that's recorded on CMIS. Are we confident that are these recorded separately from bullying incidents, and are we confident that they're always separated out?
Yeah, absolutely. That we have that confidence around the reporting using CMIS.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Pauline. Councillor McMillan, and good morning.
Thanks, Chair. Thank you. My question's based around that CMIS as well, and I'm noticing here you're saying going to record on a bullying and equalities module. I'm just interested in the details that would be recorded. Would that include, say, personal details, the young people or children involved? And the other thing is, how long do we keep these details on record as well?
I'll maybe ask Greg to come in.
Thank you, Chair. As part of the CMIS update, racial incidents used to be recorded separately, but in line with all the protected characteristics, it's now an equalities and inequalities module, where there is a racial incident by an individual, that will be recorded on their individual pastoral note, and that stays with the child through the retention period of their records with education. We very much view any incident as a real opportunity for us to educate in terms of the incident itself and to I suppose, take those behaviours and learn from them as well. Part of that will also be about noting how we have supported the individual or groups that have been on the receiving end of any racial incident as well, we monitor and track that those individuals are well supported also. And as I say, those would be retained for that period of time that we hold their pastoral notes on CMIS.
Of course.
Thank you. Greg, if I'm taking this right, then they would be there for the length of time that the children or young person is within our kind of school estate, if you like.
That's correct, Chair. All of our pastoral notes are retained for that period of time, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anne. Moira?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for letting me come back in, Chair. On section D3, on the second paragraph, there's a line that says, signposts for leaders to support self-evaluation of the school experience and curriculum through an anti-racism lens. Could you tell me a wee bit more about that? What are the signposts and what self-evaluation is collected? What information is collected?
I'll ask Greg to come in.
Yeah, Chair, just in terms of that, if you look at the indicators around quality indicator 3.1 and how good is our schools around ensuring wellbeing, inclusion and equality. So we would be working with our schools to look at what that range of diversity within their own curriculum looks like, what the school's approaches are to addressing inequalities, and although this paper is particular around racial inequalities and tackling that, as I've mentioned before, it spans all of the protected characteristics, and therefore under that ongoing evaluation of the school's work around quality indicator 3.1 and also its curriculum, we would be, as a central team, supporting schools to identify any further improvements that could be made. What we would also do, Chair, is respond to other feedback from stakeholders. So through our pupil ethos surveys or parental ethos surveys, if there are particular concerns being raised within one school community, we would then engage directly with that school to see what improvement activities were planned to take that forward.
Thanks, Greg. Moira, did you get that?
Yeah, I did. Thanks. And so, what professional learning is at the back of that in order to support the self-evaluation or to plug gaps, and also to look at the curriculum to identify any possible bias in the curriculum?
The professional learning that we have in place is well supported going into next session under the positive relationship policy, and that's going to be focus of the head teacher collaborations and of our middle leaders. The professional learning and leadership that we're looking at is that anti-racist professional learning opportunities to be developed, and the professional learning programme is going to take place in terms of spotlight sessions as well. Our equity team also support all of our schools to use an inclusive classroom checklist with staff to ensure that all of our environments promote the inclusion of all of our children.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair. Thanks for the reply.
Thanks, Moira. Are there any further questions? Are there any comments anybody wishes to make? Councillor Stafford?
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, just to say thank you for this report. I think it's really, as you said, timely and important that we are embedding these values right through our education system from the earliest years. We know, I just wanted to highlight a couple of bits of good practice that are already happening in my own ward. We know Islamophobia is on the rise, so I was delighted to see when the new Bathgate Mosque opened just recently, before the paint was even dry, one of their first events was to open the mosque up to the community to come and break fast at the end of Ramadan, and some of the local primary school teachers came along to that, and seeing the connection with their own students who recognised them at that event was really lovely to see. And at the bottom of page 2 it mentions the pupils from Bathgate Academy who worked to create the book, The West Lothian Connection. They were recently recognised at Bathgate Procession Community Awards, and it was fantastic to have a chat with them and hear about the work that they'd done. So there's a lot of good work already going on, but it's great to see it pulled together in this report.
Thanks, Pauline. Are there any further comments? I don't see any requests to speak. Just one last thing before we go. As members will probably already be aware, there's a change of personnel from the start of the new session. Dr. Elaine Cook, although definitely not leaving the council, is moving to a different role within the council, so this will be the last education executive that she's at. So I think we would all wish to put in thanks, our deepest thanks to Elaine for all her hard work in the education role that she's held for many years. I've been the education chair for 3 years, and what I've discovered is that there's nothing that Elaine doesn't know about education in West Lothian and beyond that. So just to record our thanks to her. You'd be most welcome to say something if you wanted to.
Well, thank you, Chair. I have to say it's been my pleasure working in education. I might be back, however, but I'm looking forward to Graham Struthers' remit at the moment. I'm on to housing and corporate and operational services, so I'll have a new look on that. However, you can never forget education because it's actually ingrained in you, something that I've loved for a long time, and I have to say that working in West Lothian education has been a privilege, and all the superb staff that sometimes you get to see in the education executive and the PDSP that work in our schools but also in our central services. They do an enormous amount to promote education in West Lothian and actually to make it where it is today, which is way better than it ought to be given its SIMD. So I have to thank everybody that I've worked with, and also thank you, Andrew, because we've had some laughs, I have to say, along the way, and some tears as well. So good luck to Greg, who'll be taking over for a while anyway. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks very much, Elaine. And on that note, I would just like to thank everyone for their attendance and wish everybody a very happy and warm summer.